right. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, everyone, everywhere? Hope I find you well wherever you are. And this is Lovers Podcast Show, a program where we discuss business, entertainment, arts, and anything that is to do with our lives on daily basis. And the purpose of this podcast is to inspire you, to make you a better person, to see the other side of the light. And today I'm going to bring you another issue, another story, quite an interesting aspect of life. I'm going to bring you two folds of aspects today in this podcast. One of them is to look into the land shortly, the importance of buying a land and acquiring a land, or considering other factors. And secondly, we'll look into how dumper people are more successful and are business owners as opposed to the smart ones and the intelligent people. Now, let's get into business. So in this podcast of today, I'm going to use or to listen to react to Dr. Daniel Masaba. He's a medical doctor, but he left the medical field in order to do farming. Or you can also watch him on Farm Up. He's quite an inspiring and motivational speaker and business entrepreneur. So today we just want to look into the aspect of the land. The land in this case is actually bringing the pros and the cons, the pros and the cons, to say having a piece of land only is not enough, because so many people, like in the rural areas where we come from in Africa, they own a piece of land, but they're still poor. It's not about owning a piece of land, but it's about what you're doing on that piece of land that makes the difference. So we have to be cognizant also of the fact that when you reach the age of 40, of which I know most of us in the diaspora, or the people of my generation, were still thriving and trying to make a living around the age of 40, it could be 35 to 50 years, you're still in the same WhatsApp group, in the same category. So if you to calculate closely, you realize that in terms of age, in terms of life expectancy, of course, we can work with 80, but how many of us will be able to reach the age of 80, considering the life expectancy in Africa? So you have to calculate for how long will you be active in terms of establishing a business and running a business. And if you think closely, you realize that this is now the time. It's either you make it or you don't. It's either you still remain the same like your dad or like your mom. If you don't make a difference now, I know it sounds so scary, but that's the truth of the matter. Now, we want to look into the issue of the land, that if you do not do anything on the land, you're not doing anything to yourself. And to help me to do that, let's react and let's listen to Dr. Daniel Masaba is saying in this clip.
Of something called the opportunity cost. That's actually our point number 4, opportunity cost. Now, that's something that you actually need to think about very deeply every time you consider buying land. Land alone in itself doesn't bring money. Have you seen people in villages who own huge chunks of land, hundreds and hundreds of acres, and these guys can't afford food? They can't even get money to buy seeds to plant on their land to get back money. That means land in itself being there is useless. And you might tell yourself, well, I could sell it a few years later and get money. That's true, but then you're wasting time, you're wasting your life. Have you thought about the fact that your life is finite? Yeah, you're probably 40 years of age and you're only going to die maybe when you're 80 years. So you have 40 years left to live, and each and every one of those days actually counts. So if you're wasting 10 years of your life waiting for land to appreciate and then you sell it, what else could you have done in that life? How about you get the money earlier on, utilize that money, and you can always buy land later on. So that's called the opportunity cost. What else could you have used that money for? What could you have used that money for? You see, I'm personally a very big proponent for starting businesses. Now,
So I think there you got it. There you had it. It's quite motivational, quite inspiring. You can listen to the rest of the podcast, to the rest of his communication, and be able to learn quite a lot from what he's saying. Now, I want to flip on to the next aspect that we want to look into: how people who are dumper are better than those who are intelligent and smart, how people dumper than you are making millions. And that's really something that's so real. Successful people are the dumper ones, and the smart, the intelligent, and the educated ones work for the dumper people. And I think you all agree with me that smart and intelligent people are very, very calculative, and they are not risk takers. They are not interested in taking some risk. They are only concerned about stability. They are only concerned about earning a living, looking after their children, providing food on the table. And that's enough for having a place to stay, a car to drive, and be able to pay the bills. That's all they're concerned about, because that's how the education system has actually taught them to be. In actual fact, the education system in Africa is quite a trap. It traps us. It traps us into oblivion. It traps us beyond measure. It makes us filled with muzzles, like a horse that is, put some blinkers so that it doesn't see the other side of the world. And we don't usually think outside the box because we are satisfied with our qualifications. We're satisfied with our paper, with our documents. We're satisfied with our qualifications, and we are so proud of having achieved. In actual fact, it is every parent's desire, every parent's dream to have a successful child in terms of education, academically excelling. Parents are usually happy when their children are doing very well at school, and they are not happy if they have a dumper child who is not good academically. And yet, those who are not very good academically think outside the box because they know that they don't have any paper, they don't have any qualification to take them to the next level. So because of the situations, because of hardships, because of difficulties, they think outside the box. And this is the paradox. This is the difference between the successful people and the dumper ones. The successful people really think outside the box. They're forced by situations and circumstances that if I don't do something with my case and situation, I won't be able to survive. I won't live. And as compared to the smart, the intelligent, the educated ones, those with degrees, diplomas, PhDs, they rely so much on their papers, on their qualification for survival, and that's what brings comfort. But let's listen here.
With being the kind of person who reasons so much and thinks about so much to each and every detail. Number one, such people pay too much attention to risk. Like I've already shared with you, risk had always been an important aspect of evolution and for the change of life, not only in humans, but in other animals. But the problem is that once you pay too much attention to risk, then you literally pay a blind eye to opportunities. While you're trying to look at everything that might go wrong and not looking at the opportunities that might be presented to you, you literally miss out on the opportunities once they pass by because you're trying to make sure that you don't fail. Every time you assess risk, you're trying to make sure that you don't get left behind, you're not amongst the ones that fail, despite the fact that the chances of failure generally in life are very low. Look at all the times you've thought about the bad things, the evil things that could happen in your life. The likelihood that they actually happen are very, very, very low. The thing about human beings is that there are two sides to every coin. There's good things that can happen to us and bad things that happen to us. The thing about the human brain is that it tends to pay more attention on something when it happens in the negative direction compared to something when it happens in the positive direction. For example, if you're seated down and someone comes and gives you $1,000 you'll be happy, you'll be excited, but you won't feel like something so huge just happened to you. But if you lost $1,000, if you had $1,000 today and someone came and stole it from you, someone was passing by and pulled it from you and ran away from you, you feel a greater sense of loss when you lose $1,000 compared to when you gain $1,000. Generally, what has happened is that it's the same thing that has happened to you in two different directions. So generally, humans have evolved to be more aversive and to fear loss more than they fear gain. So because of that, the brilliant people pay too much attention to risk and avoiding failure than actually possible equal positive impact. That means possible equal gains in the right direction. The second problem is that brilliant people continuously seek approval from others. You see, the thing about being brilliant is that a lot of times you end up in some form of community. For example, I am a doctor, so a lot of my colleagues and friends are doctors, and it becomes quite easy for me to compare myself to other doctors. If one of them pops up with a GLE, I want to have a Mercedes GLE. If one of them builds this kind of house, I want to have that kind of house. If one of them is married, I want to get married. It's about comparison to people in your social group. You're always seeking to please others, unlike people who are not really brilliant. For them, that does not matter. And the problem with continuously seeking approval from others is that then you move away from your path. You move away from the things that would have brought you satisfaction and joy, and from the things that would have brought success to your life, and then you move on to the path of another person. You miss the opportunities. Instead of, for example, putting money aside for investment, instead of putting money aside for savings or something that's very important, you're trying to appease other people and to make sure that you look like other people, or you look like what people expect of you or what people want of you, and that closes a lot of doors and opportunities for growth. The third problem with brilliant people is that they look at life in a specialist line instead of looking at it in a more generalistic line. You see, that's very important. The thing about brilliant people is that you grow up
look life in a more specialistic point of view or line rather than on a general point of view. So that's critical and huge chunks of lessons that we need to grasp and be able to pick up the pieces and begin to be general and begin to be dumb. In other words, you have to take some risk in life to be able to succeed, to do better. So I'm not going to play the rest of the video. You have to look for it on YouTube and be able to listen and get inspired. And today, that's what I had to bring for you. It's from Lovers Podcast show. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Please. Kukumbiro jangu. Please subscribe for more so that I get motivated to bring you more stuff just to motivate you and to encourage you. And it's a bye-bye for now.